Are you a freelance copywriter and you wonder how to make your copywriting stronger, but you feel like you're kind of studying in a bubble? I get it. I was once there. I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance copywriter and copywriting mentor, and I remember what it was like when I was first getting started and trying to be a better copywriter, but not quite knowing how to get feedback or what to implement to make everything so much stronger and more effective. So today, I'm going to give you my best tips for how to write better sales copy today. Now, this is something that I have used myself, and this is something I have recommended to thousands and thousands of freelance copywriters through my course, Write Your Way to Freedom. I have helped so many people strengthen their copy skills really quickly. And this is slightly different from a lot of the advice you're going to find out there. This is not going to be about hand copying copy. This is not going to be about studying copy. And this is definitely not going to be about just copywriting, submitting it to a client, and hoping it works. While we all have to do that to some extent, these are actual checkpoints that you can implement in your writing process when you're first starting out to make your sales copy so much more powerful. So some of these tips are kind of ideas to keep in mind, and some of these are going to be what I like to call editing passes. When you are first starting to become a copywriter, or when you're just looking to level up your skills, I cannot emphasize enough how powerful it is to implement editing passes, meaning reading your copy, but with one thing at the forefront of your mind. So the first piece of advice I have for you is to pick somebody in your life who is a good representation of the audience avatar, somebody that is going to give you a good, clear image in your mind of who it is you're exactly talking to, and write their name at the top of your piece. This is such a simple, powerful way to have a real life person in your mind. It's also going to prevent you from writing too broadly, and it's also going to prevent you from writing things that you just wouldn't say to a group of people, right? You want to make sure everything is written in a way that it's addressing one individual person, and when you have that individual person in mind, it's going to make it so much easier and more powerful to kind of stick to those important strategies. So I often use friends, my mom, my dad, coworkers, just people in my life that create a clear image of who it is I'm writing to. Remember, copywriting is all about making sure the person you are writing to, your audience, feels really understood and seen. And when you have a clear image of who it is you're talking to, that's going to make writing to them so much easier for you. The next thing I want you to keep in mind, especially if you're kind of new to this, although I still see even, copywriters who've been kind of at it a while forget this really important concept. And it's because we were kind of taught to write exactly the opposite in school. And what it is keeping in mind the image of a triangle. So in school, we were taught to write in a triangle like this, where at the top of the triangle, we are building a case, building a case, building a case, building a case, making a point. In copywriting, you want to flip the triangle. You actually want to make the point, which is going to tell the reader why they should stick around, why they should listen to you, why they should care, and then you're going to build your case. So make sure that you have flipped the triangle, because all too often our English classroom tendencies tend to creep their way in and kind of mess with our copywriting. In that same vein, another question I like to ask myself is, do I start with the transformation or the payoff first? It's so important to tell them what they're going to get out of this before you start digging into how. And again, this really goes against the tendency of what we were taught in school. And so it can be a little bit difficult to push back against. In fact, whenever I have people coming into my course who have a formal English degree or background, I often give them a heads up that they are probably going to have to push back against some English classroom tendencies. I came from a technical background. I came from a science background. And so I definitely had to push back against making everything super boring, quite frankly. Which brings me to my next point. Did I reduce the amount of jargon that I'm using? Remember, it's so important to explain and to write your copy in a way that you are talking to somebody outside of your industry. Most of the time, there are exceptions. But too often, our clients or we get way too close to our own businesses and we kind of lose sight of where the audience is when we meet them. Right? You got to think about that customer journey. Where are they actually meeting you on the journey? And do they know these insider words? Usually it's safer to kind of either explain them or to use more layman-friendly terms so that they are able to follow along much, much easier. The next question I like to ask myself is, did I position the reader as the hero? Remember, they are the Harry Potter. I, or we, the writer, is the Dumbledore. They are the hero. We are the guide. We are showing them the path to the solutions they are looking for, but we are not the hero. So again, I always ask myself as I'm kind of going through my copy, did I position them as the hero? Okay, the next few things that I like to do are actual editing passes. Everything up until this point are questions you can ask yourself to make sure that you're making your copy as strong as possible. Now, editing passes are something that I did for a long time until I kind of created a copywriting muscle in my brain and it became second nature. In fact, it's so second nature now that I sometimes have a hard time turning copywriting off. But this is going to be a really helpful way to kind of ingrain this into your mind. So the first thing is making sure that you're writing in an active voice. The HemingwayApp.com is a great tool to help you identify this, but it's so important. I can't tell you the number of times I go through copy pieces and I see words like will or can, and I'm like, we can make that so much punchier by just removing those words. In fact, I used to actually do a Google Doc search for the words will, can, and that, because almost always you can delete those words to make the sentence stronger, clearer, more concise, or more active. So go ahead and give that a try. I'm willing to bet you're going to be a little surprised at what you find. The next editing pass I like to do after I've done a quick Google search for those keywords is I like to do a pass where I ask myself, where can I show and not tell? Where can I incorporate stories? I cannot emphasize enough how powerful this is. All too often, copywriters, especially new copywriters, get really hung up at the different elements that need to be included in copy or recommended to be in copy, right? Frequently asked questions, handling objections, features not benefits, blah, blah, blah. But what we miss is that there are so many opportunities to infuse story. For example, it's so much more effective if you are going to go over the benefits of the product or service that you're talking about and to incorporate a story. How are they going to feel? Are they going to be able to spend more time with their kids and therefore feel like a better mom? Are they going to be able to lose that weight they've always wanted to lose and therefore feel more confident in the summer in their bathing suit? You know, paint that picture with story, because that's going to be far more engaging and activating to the human brain. The next editing pass I do, and I do this again even after the storytelling pass, is I ask myself, where can I add more emotions? It's so important in your copy to make sure that you are calling out the emotions that you are trying to evoke, because more often than not, if you don't, you can have them fill in their own stories, which might not be the direction you're trying to take them, right? Maybe again, weight loss is a really loaded subject. It's a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, and for good reason. I'm not going to go off into diet culture, even though I really want to, but if you are going to be writing in that industry and not causing harm and actually writing some ethical copy, it's so important to use emotion and to explain yourself kind of through that storytelling and the emotions that you're genuinely trying to evoke. So you're making it super, super clear what it is you're trying to show them. So again, I always ask myself, where can I add more emotions? And keep in mind, it might not be overt emotions. You might actually be using some storytelling or some testimonials or things like that to kind of evoke emotion. So you can do it really overtly and even call it out, or you might do it in a more subtle way. Remember, us humans are emotional creatures, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of us love to think that we're rational beings and we always make rational decisions, but science has shown us time and time again that we're not. In fact, I think it's really powerful if you can tap into it. I realized back in the day when I used to deny this part of myself, I actually created a lot of blind spots for myself, which made me more susceptible to like not so great marketing, right? So it's really important to kind of own and accept like what is our truth about being humans. And that is that we are emotional. And when you can accept that, you can, one, become a better copywriter, but two, have greater insight into the way we make decisions and can connect more authentically, more genuinely with your audience. So I hope that helps. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if it does. And please don't forget to subscribe. And of course, if you have any comments or questions or any ideas for videos in the future, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Thanks, guys.